My beloved child. Stop for a moment. Do not scroll. Do not look away. There is a reason your eyes landed on this message today, and before this moment slips away, you need to hear something that very few people are prepared to understand. Your soulmate just made a choice nobody saw coming. Not their friends. Not their family. Not even the person themselves. And somehow, that choice involves you. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. For a long time, this story seemed finished. The pages looked closed. The distance looked permanent. The silence felt complete. Every sign pointed toward separation, toward different paths, toward a future where your names would never be spoken in the same sentence again. But what if everything everyone believed was wrong? What if the ending they accepted was never the ending at all? At this very moment, there is movement happening behind the scenes. Quiet movement. Invisible movement. The kind that nobody notices until suddenly everything changes at once. Your soulmate has been standing at a crossroads. One road felt familiar. The other felt impossible. One road required nothing. The other required courage. And for longer than anyone realizes, they remained frozen between the two. They told themselves there was no reason to think about you. They told themselves there was no reason to wonder. They told themselves there was no reason to look back. Yet every time they tried to walk away completely, something happened. A memory appeared. A feeling returned. A question refused to disappear. And the harder they tried to ignore it, the louder it became. Don't skip. Because what happened next surprised even them. There came a moment recently when everything became impossible to avoid. A conversation. A memory. A sudden realization. Something small on the surface but enormous underneath. And in that moment they were forced to face a truth they had been running from. You never truly left their heart. Think about that. After all the distractions. After all the noise. After all the attempts to move forward. Your presence remained. Not because they wanted it to. Not because they planned it. But because some connections refuse to disappear simply because time passes. And that realization changed everything. The choice they made was not impulsive. It was not emotional. It was not temporary. It came after countless nights of thinking. Countless moments of reflection. Countless internal battles nobody else could see. The world around them believed they had already decided their future. The world believed they had already moved on. The world believed there was nothing left to consider. But inside, another story was unfolding. A story nobody knew. A story nobody expected. A story that leads directly to you. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the decision your soulmate made was not simply about the past. It was about possibility. It was about asking a question they never expected to ask again. What if I was wrong? Those 5 words changed everything. What if they misunderstood the connection? What if they gave up too soon? What if the story was never over? What if the person they keep remembering was meant to remain important? The moment those questions entered their heart, the walls began to crack. Slowly at first. Then all at once. And once those walls started falling, there was no way to rebuild them. Because truth has a strange power. Once seen, it cannot be unseen. Once felt, it cannot be unfelt. And once accepted, it changes the future. What makes this choice so surprising is that nobody around them expected it. The people closest to them believed they knew exactly what would happen next. They thought the path ahead was obvious, predictable, simple. But life has a way of creating unexpected turns when people least expect them. And this turn begins with a realization connected to you. Not a coincidence. Not a random thought. A realization. A deep understanding. An awakening. Your soulmate has started seeing things differently. Moments they ignored now seem important. Conversations they forgot now feel meaningful. Memories they dismissed now return with unexpected clarity. It is as if pieces of a puzzle have suddenly begun fitting together. And the picture becoming visible is impossible to ignore. Don't skip. Because the next part of this story is where everything becomes even more unexpected. The choice they made was not merely about remembering. It was about believing. Believing that some connections deserve another look. Believing that some stories deserve another chapter. Believing that some people leave a mark that never truly disappears. And whether they wanted to admit it or not, you became one of those people. That realization has created a shift. A powerful shift. One that continues growing stronger every day. Even now. Even while you are listening. Something is changing. Something is moving. Something is unfolding beyond what most people can see. The signs are subtle today. But subtle things often become powerful things. Small moments become life-changing moments. Quiet decisions become defining decisions. And your soulmate's choice may become one of those moments. So stay with me. Do not leave yet. Because this is only the beginning. The full meaning of their choice has not been revealed. The true impact has not yet appeared. And what happens next may explain why this message found you at exactly the right time. Something huge is waiting for you. A strange silence settled over everything after that choice was made. Not the kind of silence that means nothing is happening. The kind of silence that appears when something important is already in motion. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what your soulmate did next was something nobody expected. They stopped listening to outside opinions. For so long, other voices had shaped their decisions. Friends had opinions. Family had opinions. People who knew only part of the story had opinions. But suddenly, those voices became quieter, and one voice became louder than all the others. Their own heart. And when they finally listened, they discovered something that shocked them. Every road they imagined for the future somehow led back to thoughts of you. Every dream they tried to build without you felt incomplete. Every plan they created seemed to have a missing piece. That missing piece was not a place. It was not a thing. It was a person. And the more they searched for answers, the more your presence appeared where they least expected it. What happened after that is even more surprising. There was a moment when your soulmate realized they had been measuring everyone against a memory they never fully understood. They compared conversations. They compared energy. They compared connections. Yet something never matched. Something never felt the same. And that realization created a question so powerful it changed everything. What if the connection they walked away from was actually the one connection they were supposed to understand more deeply? Stay till the end, because this is where the story becomes impossible to ignore. The choice nobody saw coming was no longer just a private thought. It became a decision. A real decision. A decision to stop pretending. A decision to stop running from unanswered feelings. A decision to stop acting like your name no longer carried meaning. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. As days passed, unexpected reminders began appearing everywhere. Familiar songs. Familiar places. Familiar emotions. Tiny moments that seemed ordinary to everyone else but carried a message only they could understand. And with every reminder, the certainty grew stronger. They were no longer asking whether you mattered. They were asking what they should do about it. That is a very different question. One question looks backward. The other looks forward. And for the first time in a very long time, your soulmate started looking forward. They started imagining possibilities they once refused to imagine. They started considering outcomes they once dismissed. They started wondering whether destiny had one more surprise hidden behind the curtain. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the most shocking part has not happened yet. Late one night, while everyone else was asleep, your soulmate sat alone with their thoughts. No distractions. No noise. No outside influence. Just honesty. Pure honesty. And in that moment, they admitted something they had never spoken aloud before. They admitted that forgetting you was never as easy as they claimed. They admitted that moving on never felt complete. They admitted that some part of their heart kept waiting for a sign they could not explain. The instant they accepted that truth, a weight seemed to disappear. A door seemed to open. A new chapter seemed possible. Nobody saw this coming because nobody knew what was happening behind the scenes. But now the choice has been made. The decision has already begun changing everything. And as this story continues, the true reason it involves you will become clearer than ever before. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The biggest revelation is still ahead. Just when it seemed the story could not become more surprising, something happened that changed the entire direction of your soulmate's thoughts. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the choice your soulmate made was only the beginning. What came after the choice is what nobody could have predicted. There was a moment when they found themselves revisiting memories they had not touched in a very long time. Not because they wanted to live in the past, but because the past suddenly started making sense in a way it never had before. Conversations they once overlooked now felt important. Small moments they barely noticed now seemed unforgettable. It was as if pieces of a hidden message had been scattered throughout their journey, and only now were those pieces coming together. The more they reflected, the more one truth became impossible to ignore. You were never just another chapter in their story. You were one of the reasons the story mattered in the first place. The realization arrived quietly, but its impact was enormous. Your soulmate began seeing the connection from an entirely different perspective. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, they started focusing on what was real. Instead of remembering distance, they remembered understanding. Instead of remembering obstacles, they remembered moments that felt effortless. That shift changed everything. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because when a person changes the way they see a connection, they also change the way they see the future. Suddenly, possibilities that once seemed impossible started appearing within reach. Questions turned into curiosity. Curiosity turned into hope. Hope turned into action. And action is where every great story begins. Then something happened that completely caught them off guard. Someone mentioned your name unexpectedly. It was a simple moment. A normal moment. Yet the reaction inside their heart was anything but normal. They could have ignored it. They could have brushed it aside. They could have moved on with their day. But they didn't. The moment stayed with them. Hours passed, yet they kept thinking about it. Why did hearing your name still matter? Why did it create such a powerful feeling? Why did it seem like the universe was placing reminders directly in front of them? The questions continued growing until they could no longer be dismissed. And when they finally searched for answers, every answer pointed in the same direction. Toward you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this next revelation is where everything becomes even more powerful. Your soulmate has started understanding that some connections are not measured by time. They are measured by impact. Time can pass. Circumstances can change. Entire seasons of life can come and go. Yet certain people leave an impression that refuses to fade. That impression becomes part of who you are. And whether they expected it or not, you became part of who they are. The choice nobody saw coming was not simply a decision to remember. It was a decision to acknowledge the truth. A decision to stop pretending the connection was ordinary. A decision to recognize that what they felt was meaningful. As this understanding grows stronger, something else is happening. Their fear is shrinking. Their doubts are becoming quieter. The reasons they once used to stay distant are losing their power. And when doubt loses its power, clarity begins to take its place. That clarity is leading them toward a realization they cannot avoid much longer. A realization that may explain why your paths crossed in the first place. A realization that may reveal why this connection has remained impossible to forget. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next chapter is not about looking back anymore. It is about what happens when someone finally decides to follow what their heart has been trying to tell them all along. And when that moment arrives, nothing will feel the same again. There is one final piece of this story that changes everything. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Throughout this journey, you may have wondered what the choice actually was. Why was it so unexpected? Why did nobody see it coming? Why does it involve you so deeply? The answer is simpler than people imagine, yet more powerful than anyone expected. Your soulmate stopped fighting what their heart already knew. That was the choice. Not a dramatic moment. Not a sudden impulse. A decision to finally accept the truth. A decision to stop running from a connection that continued appearing in their thoughts, their memories, and their future plans. For a long time, they believed ignoring the connection would make it disappear. Instead, the connection became clearer, stronger, more meaningful, and eventually, impossible to deny. What makes this revelation so surprising is that the people around them expected the opposite. They expected distance to win. They expected time to erase everything. They expected the story to fade away like so many others. But your story did not fade. It remained. Quietly. Consistently. Waiting for the right moment to be understood. And now that moment has arrived. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because your soulmate has started seeing your connection as something that deserves attention rather than avoidance. They have started viewing it as something valuable rather than something to forget. That shift may sound small, but it changes the entire future. The most powerful part is what happened after they made this choice. Instead of feeling uncertainty, they felt clarity. Instead of feeling confusion, they felt peace. Instead of feeling pressure, they felt understanding. It was as if a question they had carried for so long finally received an answer. And that answer pointed toward you. Not because of coincidence. Not because of luck. But because some people leave an impact that remains long after the moment has passed. Your soulmate finally recognized the impact you made. They finally understood why memories of you never disappeared completely. They finally realized why every attempt to forget only led back to remembering. And now we arrive at the revelation hidden inside the title itself. Your soulmate made a choice nobody saw coming because everyone assumed the story was over. Everyone believed the connection belonged only to the past. Everyone thought the final chapter had already been written. But your soulmate chose to believe there may still be another chapter waiting. That is the choice. The choice to remain open. The choice to remain curious. The choice to stop closing the door on possibilities connected to you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because sometimes the biggest changes begin with a single decision. A single realization. A single moment of honesty. As this message comes to an end, remember this. Some stories end because people stop believing in them. Other stories continue because someone finally finds the courage to see them differently. Your soulmate's choice was not about the past. It was about the future. A future they suddenly see through a different lens. A future where possibilities exist that once seemed impossible. A future where your name no longer feels like a closed chapter. And that is why this choice matters. That is why nobody saw it coming. And that is why it involves you. The choice has been made. The realization has arrived. The door that once seemed closed is no longer locked. And sometimes, that single change is enough to transform everything.